Hi guys. I hope you're doing well. So today we just have 3 of you, so we're just going to proceed. And you will be looking at Python dictionaries. Sorry. So we are going to look at Python dictionaries and everything there is to know about Python dictionaries. And Python dictionary is basically an ordered collection of items that stores connected or related information. Yeah, so you can have a dictionary of a user if you have something like if you have like a website and you can store each user as an object, yeah, with all their information. Yeah, so with their name, maybe their email address, their mobile number, their password, and all that. That information about one specific user can be stored as a dictionary object in Python. And this is made possible because Python stores data in something called a key value pair. So each piece of information is a key value pair. Yeah, so you have the key, which describes what that information is about, and then we have the value, which is now the piece of information that you're storing. Yeah, it could be something like the key could be something like the name, and then value could be the actual name. Yeah, you can have a key of name and the value of, let's say, Idris Alba, for instance. Yeah, and now with these key value pairs, you're able to do different Python operations on them. You can access individual key value pairs. You can access individual keys or values. You can even loop through Python dictionaries using a for loop or a while loop. Okay, so this is the basic structure of a Python dictionary. So you can store it in a variable name, like here we have a variable name object, and this is a dictionary, and the dictionary is shown by 2 curly brackets. So everything that goes in between those 2 curly brackets are key value pairs. Yeah, and so in each key value pair we have the key and its value, and both of them are separated by a colon. So in between the key and the value, we have a colon, and each key value pair in the dictionary is separated by a comma. Yeah, so here, this is one key value pair. You can see the key, after key, we have the colon and then the value. Yeah, and then since this is one key value pair, since this is one key value pair, it's separated from the other key value pair in that dictionary by this comma here. Yeah, so this is a basic structure of a simple dictionary. Yeah, we have nested dictionary where you have a dictionary a list inside a dictionary, which also has a dictionary inside that list. Yeah, so you can have nested dictionaries, or you can have a simple dictionary like the one we have here. Okay, so let's create a new dictionary and call it person. And this dictionary will have the key value pairs. The first one being the name and its value. Is James Bond. The age is the key, and 77 is the value for that key age. Then the country is the key, and United Kingdom is the value. Yeah, and we can show that dictionary, and this is how it looks like. Name, James Bond, age 77, country, United Kingdom. Yeah, so this is, you can see how easy it is to store pieces of related information in a dictionary. Yeah, so you can store, each dictionary can represent one object, and this can be a person, can be a pet, it can be a car, it can be literally anything. Okay, so now that you know how to create a Python dictionary and how the structure of a Python dictionary, let's see how now you can access individual items in that dictionary. Yeah, And you're going to start with, if you want to access a value in the dictionary. Yeah, so we have this key name here. What if we wanted now to access the value related to that key and maybe use it for something, maybe create a sentence or anything, or maybe perform a mathematical operation or anything? How do we do that? So we do that by getting the key associated with that value. Yeah. And we're going to pass in that key as a string inside square brackets. So first we're going to get the dictionary name, then square brackets, and then inside those square brackets, we specify the name, the key for that value. Yeah. And we can assign it to a new variable and all that. So we're going to create a new variable here called name. And then we're going to get our dictionary, which we call person, and then square brackets. And inside our square brackets, we want to get the value associated with this key name here. Yeah. And that should give us this value, James Bond, because it's the value that is associated with this key name. Yeah, and you see we have James Bond after printing out our name. Yeah, you can change this to anything. You can change it to age, and it will give us this value of age. Okay, and you should be wary of some errors that could arise from accessing items from a dictionary. Like if you wanted to access an item in a value in the dictionary, but the key associated with that value is not there, or that key value pair does not exist, then you're going to get an error. Let's say we wanted to get city, the city where they come from. Yeah, and then we're now going to get this key error here because with this key, city does not exist. So if you access an item in a Python dictionary and you get the key error, you should straight away know that the key that you passed in that when you're accessing that item does not exist. Yeah, like if you can make a typing error like this one. Yeah, and you're going to get a key error, then you should know that there is a key error. The line of code that you're using to access an item in the dictionary has an error, and then you can go back there and correct it. Okay. Any question? Okay, so now that we've looked at how you can access individual items from a dictionary, now let's see how we can add key value pairs to a dictionary, to an existing dictionary. Yeah, and Python dictionaries allows us to add items or key value pairs to the dictionary, just like we would append items in Python lists. Okay, and what you do, we just get hold of the dictionary name. Then inside square brackets, we pass in the new key and then equate that new key to its value. Yeah, so like we're going to say person, then we're creating a new key called city, and that city will be equal to London. Yeah, and this now key value pair will be appended or added to our dictionary as it is with the key city and the value London. Yeah. We're going to run that, and now you see we have this key value pair here in our person dictionary. We have the city as the key and the value of London. Yeah, we can also modify the existing items in our dictionary. So let's say we want to change the name from James Bond to maybe Sean Murphy. Yeah, so we're going to get that get hold of that name key, and then we're going to equate that or associate that to a new name, Sean Murphy. And we can do the same for the age. So maybe Sean Murphy is not 77 years old. Maybe Sean Murphy is 30 years old. Yeah. So now instead of having the name as James Bond and age as 77, we'll have the name as Sean Murphy and the age as 30, because now we've modified the existing key value pairs in our dictionary. And basically what happens when you're modifying the item, Python will go back to the original dictionary and check whether this key exists. If that key exists, then it's going to change its value to the new value that you've assigned it to. But if it doesn't exist, it's going to create a new key value pair with the key and the value. But since now the name key already exists in our dictionary, it's just going to overwrite the existing name, and it's going to change the existing name to the new name that we assign. Okay, and basically that's it. That's how you can modify items or values in a Python dictionary. Any question? Okay, now we've looked at how you can add key value pairs to a dictionary, how you can modify, but what if we now want to remove them? How do we do that? And there are several methods for doing that. We're going to start with the Dell method. And the Dell method, you're going to use the Dell keyword, DEL, and then select the key that you want to remove. Yeah. So in our dictionary, we have our person dictionary. Let's say we wanted to remove the country keyword pair, key value pair. So we're going to say person, then we get that key for that key value pair that we want to remove. And then once we run that and print out our person, you can see we don't have the country anymore. Yeah, we had the country as United Kingdom, but it's no longer there. Okay, there's another method of removing items from a dictionary, the pop method. It will also do the same, but the catch with the pop method is that you can assign that item that you remove, you can assign the value to that item to a new variable. Yeah, so let's assume we have this dictionary here called pets. We have the animal type, the name, the age, and the color. And we have the keys, the values associated with those keys. So let's say we wanted to remove the name from that dictionary, and we want to get hold of that value associated with the name. Yeah, and maybe use it for something else. Yeah, let's say we wanted to remove it and then maybe notify the user that we've removed that name. Yeah, so you can say pets.pop, and then we pass in the key of that item, of that value that you want to remove, and then we can assign that operation to a new variable called name, and then we can print it out. And when we do, this key value pair will be removed, but we have stored the key to that key value pair in a variable called name. Okay, and now you see we have Mike. But if we print our past dictionary, you see we don't have the name here, which has been removed, but we've gotten hold of this value that was removed. We also have the PopItem method, and this method is used to remove and return an arbitrary number, an arbitrary key value pair. And this is used if you just want to remove the last item from the last key value pair from the dictionary. Yeah, and it doesn't take any arguments. So I'm going to say pets.PopItem, and you're not going to pass any argument to that method. And now it's going to remove the last item from our dictionary, and it's going to assign that key value pair to a new tuple. Okay, and this is what is happening. We've removed the last item, and in the last item in our dictionary now, after removing the name, we are left with these three key value pairs, and the last one is color, which has the value of black. And now you see if we print out our pets dictionary, you see we have two, because the color key and its value of black have been removed from that dictionary, but you can assign them to a new variable, which will now store the key value pairs as a tuple. Yeah, that's what we mean here by remove and return. So it will remove, and if you want to get hold of those values that are returned, you can get hold of them by assigning that PopItem method to a dictionary, to a new variable. Yeah, and this is basically a return function. The PopItem is a function with a return statement that returns something. Yeah, remember in the last class we looked at Python functions, and we also looked at return statements whereby a function can return something, and you can use that value that is returned by a function to do something else. Do you have any questions for up to that point? Okay, so if you don't have any questions, so let's look at how you can loop through Python dictionaries. And remember, we've already looked at loops, so I'm not going to dwell too much on loops. I'm just going to go through how you can loop through a dictionary. We looked at how you can loop through a list, or how you can loop through a string or a tuple. But how now can we loop through a Python dictionary, knowing that a dictionary has key value pairs, but a list has only the values or the items stored in that list? So to loop through dictionaries, there are three different ways. You can loop through the key value pairs, all of them, or you can loop through the keys only, or you can loop through the values only. Yeah. But so let's start by looking at how we can loop through all the key value pairs. And to loop through all the key value pairs, you need to use the .items method. So we're going to say for kv in person.items, then you can print the keys and the values. And this k and v, these are just temporary variables. The k represents the key in that dictionary, and the v represents the value. Yeah, so you are looping through the key value pairs, and then you can get hold of the individual keys and the individual values from that key value pair. Okay. So for those who might not have attended the Python loops class, these are what happens. So you have a dictionary here with the name as the key and the value of, let me use my name. Then we have another key value pair with the age. Let's say the age is 100. And let's say this is P. So if you want to loop through this dictionary using both the keys and the values, so you're going to say for key, comma v in p dot items, then colon to signify that you've reached the end of the for loop statement. So what will happen? We're going to get, for the first iteration, we're going to get hold of this key value pair. Then we're going to extract the name, the key, which will be now represented by K, and the value that will be represented by V. Yeah. So if we wanted to print the K and the V, so for the first iteration, because this is a for loop, for the first iteration, the K will be name, and the V will be that. Yeah. Then for the second iteration, we're going to get this other key value pair. So the first iteration produced a name and its value, which was my name. And then for the second iteration now, the age, the K now will be the age, and the V will be 100. Yeah. And now we'll have the second iteration will yield age and 100. So basically that's what happens. And I forgot to have the parentheses here because the .items is a method. So you need to pass in those parentheses to call that method. So here in our person dictionary, we're saying for K, V in person.items, we want to print the K, which is the key, and the V, which is the value. That's where you have the name, and Sean Murphy, age, 30, city, London. Yeah, because we've printed individual keys and values. And these are just temporary variables, these K and V. They can be anything, literally anything. You can even use key and value like that, or you can use your name. You can just use anything because they are just temporary variables. But make sure what you use here is the same, are the same values that you use here. Yeah, that's the only catch. Otherwise, you can use literally any variable name here for these two temporary variables. Okay. All right. So let's say we are conducting a small survey. I want to know every person's favorite programming language. So we can store that information in a dictionary called favorite language. And the key will be the name of the person, and the value will be the programming language that they like. Yeah, so we have Jen, Python, Sarah, C, Edward, Ruby, Phil, Python. We can loop through that dictionary again. For name, language in favorite languages.items, then we can print out an F string containing the name and the language that that person likes. Okay, and we can inside this, you can even change the text formatting for the language. You can say we want it to be displayed in as a title. That means with every first letter in uppercase, and you see we have that, or we can choose to use upper. We want uppercase, and you can see these languages are in uppercase. And you can do the same for this one as well. Okay, so basically that's how you loop through all the key value pairs in your dictionary. And now if you're only interested in looping through the keys alone, instead of now using the .items method, we're going to use the .keys method. Yeah, So I'm going to say for name in favorite languages dot keys, you can print the name. Yeah, and basically these are the keys associated with this favorite languages dictionary. And to look through the values as well, you can do the same, but now instead of using the .keys method, you just use .values method. And it's basically the same. For lang in favorite languages, .values, you can print out lang, and you can see it's Python, C, Ruby, Python again. Okay. And finally, we have nested dictionaries. And what we've been looking at so far is just a simple dictionary, but sometimes you'll have complex dictionaries with dictionaries and lists inside dictionaries and lists. Yeah, and this is basically called listing when you have a data structure inside another data structure. That is basically nesting. Yeah, so we have this dictionary here called Cohort. Let's assume this is the Africa Data School dictionary containing the course. The cohort is the dictionary, and that cohort has the course that is being offered, the start month and the start end month, and the students. And now the students key is a list. Yeah, and inside that list we have dictionaries, and those dictionaries represent individual student. Yeah, and the student those dictionaries have the name, the student, their age, the country they hail from, and the scores, the assignment scores. Yeah, and these assignment scores now are also dictionaries. Yeah, because you have assignment 1, assignment 2, and assignment 3. Okay, so your task is, based on the what we've looked at today about Python dictionaries and what we've looked at in the past about Python lists, I want you to access this value here. This value for assignment 3. This 65. Yeah. So let me see some code that will help us access this value 65 from our cohort dictionary. Yeah. So go on the chat. Look at this code. You can even open your Jupyter notebook and exercise with it. You can copy from GitHub. Go to GitHub, open the repo. You can scroll all the way down, then you can copy this. You can paste it on your Jupyter notebook or your PyCharm or whatever IDE you're using. And then try to access this value of 65. And once you're satisfied, you can let us know on the chat, or you can just paste that line of code in the chat. This can be done in just one line, or you can break it down into multiple lines, whichever works best for you. Guys, anyone has been able to crack that question? You say some guys have left. Don't know why, but it's fine. So Tabitha, Justice, and Funmi.
Just in a few, I'm trying it out.
Okay.
I couldn't get it yet.
Sorry?
I'm still trying.
Can't get it. I'm still trying.
Okay. The key is in the dictionary itself. The hint. because we have the dictionary called Cohort, yeah? And inside that dictionary, we have a key called student, and that key called student is a list, and it has 2 dictionaries inside it, yeah? So it's just a combination of how do we access items in a dictionary and in a list.
Yeah. So how to access a list? Um,
So just drop what you have on the chat so that you can see what we are working with and how where you guys are going wrong, and so that we can correct it together. So that just drop it, whatever you have, then we can go through the challenge together.
okay.
Yeah, just this. Yours is here. Let's see what is wrong. I'm going to insert a new cell. Students is not defined. Well, it's you're not using these should be inside quotation marks. That's why you're getting these students not defined, because Python doesn't know what this is.
Sorry, it's in quotation mark, but it's still not working. I made a mistake over here. Why is copying? It's still not working. Now he's saying that the list cannot be.
Okay, I know why. So let's give these to.
So I'm thinking the square bracket, maybe the square bracket is not going to work for list.
Yeah, good. That is one of the reasons. So let's give that to Justice. Let's have another one from Tabitha.
Because I use the same thing and it's not working to get into the list.
let's give this to Tabitha. Let's see what is happening. Still, I think it's the same error. How about?
I've only been able to get into the students dictionary.
Let's see. You're able to get here, but you're not able to complete the
Get into the
entire
list.
Okay, all right. So here's the problem. The problem that I've noticed is this is a Python list. The value for the students is a Python list. Yeah. So if you pass in this one here, this is not an index. Remember, in Python list, we are access items using their index.
Yes.
Okay. So once you get to the students, this is a list. So if you wanted to get this dictionary, you're going to use its index. If you wanted the second dictionary here, you're going to use its index.
I tried using index, so I didn't get it.
Okay, so let's do this together. Let's see where we're going wrong. Okay, so we're going to go to the Cohort Dictionary. Then we're going to access this key here so that we have this value, which is a dictionary. Okay, so you're going to say Cohort. And then the key is students. And that is what we end up with. And this is a dictionary, sorry, a list, because you can see we have square brackets at the start. And this list consists of two dictionaries, this one here and this one here. But the value we're interested in is in the first dictionary. Yeah. So we're going to use the index for that first dictionary inside this list. And that index is 0 because it's the first item.
0.
Okay. And now we only have that dictionary that contains this value. And this is a dictionary. This is a dictionary. Yeah. And this dictionary has 4 key value pairs. We have the name, Njogu, age, 30, country, Kenya. And then we have the assignment scores, which is also a dictionary. Yeah. So what we're interested in is this key here. So you're going to get that key. Let's just copy it. And we're going to pass in that as a string because it's the key associated with the value, which is this dictionary here. And once we run that, you see now we are left with this dictionary. Yeah. And now since you're left with this dictionary, when you are interested in the value 65, which is associated with this key of assignment 3, so you're going finally to pass in that key as well. And now we are left with the value of 65. So the challenge with most of you was here to access this dictionary inside the list. Okay. So how do we get this value of 55 now? Yeah, give it a try, just 2 minutes. I think that should be enough. Let's get this value of 65 from the cohorts. 2 minutes, it's enough, then we finish up the class.
I've sent my answer.
You're done? Okay, so let's see. Yeah, that's okay. Good. Next person.
It's the same thing. I just changed the index from 0 to 1, and then the assignment key, the assignment 1 key.
Okay. How about this country Nigeria here? How do we get hold of this value Nigeria?
Yeah, so it will be, okay, let me write down. It should be cohort. It will be the same thing like this. Instead of this.
Okay, let's give it. Okay, someone has got it right. And basically that's it. Yeah. So it's very important to understand how to access nested dictionaries, because sometimes you come across such. Yeah. The secret is really understanding the data structures and how to access the items in every data structure. Yeah, because you can have a dictionary inside the list, you can have a list inside the dictionary, which is inside another list. Things like that. Yeah. So the secret is really knowing how to access the items in every individual in every data structure. Yeah. And you can break it down into smaller tasks. Like to start with, our initial challenge, you start with accessing the students first, because you know this is a dictionary. And this now it's returning here. This is a list, because you can see it's starting with square bracket. Yeah, so that is a list. So how now you ask yourself, how do I access the items inside the list? And you access items inside the list using the index for that item. Yeah, and now you know this list here consists of 2 items which are dictionaries. Yeah, so if you wanted the first item, you're going to use the index of 0. Yeah, and now these will give you a dictionary. And now you know inside the, if you have a dictionary, you need to use the key to access the values inside that key. So our key was assignment scores. Okay, and now what we have now is a dictionary, and you know how to access values inside the dictionary is still using the keys. So we're going to pass the final key and we get the value. Yeah, so there's something about breaking a problem into smaller challenges that you can work with. Yeah, so always strive. If you come across any challenge, just think about how you can break it down. Yeah, I think there's a theory of small problem or small solutions, something like that. I think there's something that Elon Musk was talking about, small problems. I think, let's see if there's such a thing as theory of small is it small problems or small challenges? I don't remember, but there's a video about Elon Musk, the Tesla guy, talking about how mostly engineers, if you have a big problem, break it down into smaller chunks and then try to work each of those smaller problems, each of them building up to the bigger problem that you're trying to solve. Yeah. So as a programmer, you're also an engineer. So always strive to do that. Okay. So I think basically that's it for today. I think we are able now to access lists comfortably. Sorry, not lists, dictionaries comfortably. And we've also looked at functions, we've looked at lists, we've looked at Python. What else have we looked at? Data types, control flow, and logical operators. We've looked at lists and randomizations. We've looked at loops, functions, and finally dictionaries. Yeah. So basically, we've not covered a lot yet, but this should get you going when in terms of the Python basics. Okay. So I'm not sure if we are going to have another class, but we'll communicate next week if we are going to have another class for these Python programming classes. If we are not, then I think I've done my best to bring you at least to an intermediate level in Python. So this is all you need as a data scientist or a data analyst. You don't need to go into too deep into Python. But if you want to explore a path in maybe web development or Python development, then you can go deeper and look at other things in Python. But this is basically the basics covered. The only thing that we've not talked about is Python classes and object-oriented programming, which if we have the time next week, we're going to. If we don't, then maybe you can go and look at object-oriented programming. It's a very important concept in programming and how to implement OOP in Python using Python classes.